All right. Let me turn this off. Okay, can everybody hear me now? I had to go with my phone since my desktop wasn't working correctly. But hey, this is the inaugural podcast show for Standing Above the Crowd with James Donaldson. I just wanted to talk to everybody about things that happen in life and how we can be the best we can be, and also how we can overcome some of the challenges that might come our way. I've been on both ends of that equation, and today's show is all about just an introductory, a little bit of a reintroduction about me and myself. I'm in Seattle. I've been here for over 40 years. Originally came up here from Sacramento, California after high school, and was recruited here to play basketball over at Washington State University, along with my great coach, George Raveling, and the wonderful people we had over there during those years back in 1975. So that's what brought me up to the Northwest in the first place. Didn't know the first thing about it growing up in Sacramento. But I got up here to Pullman, up to Washington State, and just really dug my heels in. Didn't know where this journey was going to take me, but I just kept on plugging away, and doors started opening. The first one, of course, was getting my degree from Washington State in 1979 in sociology and psychology. Really thinking I was going into teaching and counseling and coaching and those kind of things. Never envisioned that I'd become an NBA basketball player, but the NBA came knocking. 1979. This is when the Seattle Supersonics won their first and only so far world championship in the NBA. All those great players they had with downtown Freddie Brown and Jack Sikma and Lonnie Shelton, Gus Williams, all these great players, Coach Lenny Wilkins. And so I was fortunate to be drafted by them in 79, the year that they won, just coming out of Washington State. I wasn't quite good enough to make the team at that point, and I knew that. So I went overseas and played in Italy for my first professional year. Came back the next year, tried out for the Sonics, made the team, and began my NBA journey that lasted much longer than I ever imagined it would, and most other folks imagined that it would. Ended up playing 14 years in the NBA, my first 3 years with the Seattle Supersonics. And it was just great. I mean, this really cemented the Pacific Northwest and Seattle in my mind as home. This would be home throughout all of those years. Even though I went off and played with other teams, I always maintained my residence here in Seattle and come back, during the summertime, the best time of the year, and enjoy 4 or 5 months of great weather, great friends, and reuniting with everybody. While I went off to other teams such as the LA Clippers, the Dallas Mavericks, the Utah Jazz, the New York Knicks, and played overseas as well in 3 different European countries, 2 years each in Spain, Italy, and Greece. And so that all brought me to this point here where I am. And after retirement from basketball, I settled in. Ran a long-standing physical therapy, outpatient physical therapy, orthopedic clinic for about 28 years. We ran that mainly out of Mill Creek, Washington, up North Seattle. But we also had locations in Tacoma, Seattle, Mukilteo, Kent, Cashmere over there by Leavenworth, Wenatchee. And so for almost 30 years, this is what I did while I was playing during the off season and after I retired full time for the next 20 years, and just loved it. Loved giving back to the community, being parts of everything that we did as the Donaldson Clinic. And so, but that has all been in the past. My NBA career, professional career wrapped up in 2020, 25 years ago. The Donaldson Clinic finally closed down in 2018, right before the pandemic. And I had a series of ongoing health issues that really brought me to my knees and really made me appreciate this great blessing of life that I've had and the wonderful opportunities I've had throughout. emergency open heart surgery for an aortic dissection in 2015, part 1, part 2 in 2016, another one 2018 for a arterial bypass up here, and in 2020 for my right lung, which was partially paralyzed through these very, very invasive procedures earlier. And so 4 major surgeries in 5 years just drove me to the point of, well, one, not being able to focus on myself or my work or my job or anything else at that point, and everything started falling by the wayside. I ended up losing my business, losing my house, losing my life savings, my marriage, everything that could go wrong in those 5-6 years went wrong, and lost everything with the exception of my life, which I was really, really tempted to just throw away at that point. I've got a short video I want to show and play for you. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long, and it will really give you an overview of what I've gone through, why I'm doing the work I'm doing now with mental health awareness and suicide prevention, especially for our young people that are still really traumatized by all the difficult times that they've gone through. So if we can get that little video rolling, we can take a look at that, and I can come right back to you. All right?
James Donaldson is a big man, always has been. At 7'2", he was a big man at Washington State back in the day. For 3 seasons, he was a big man with the Seattle Supersonics.
You know, this is what I grew up to do, and this is what I want to do, and I'm going to try to become as good as I can.
He played in the NBA for 14 seasons. One year, he was an all-star. You got to be tough to go toe-to-toe with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all the rest of the NBA giants.
It's just going to be so many people that really, I think, will hopefully be inspired by my story.
His story. For 40 years, James has called Seattle home. He started the Donaldson Clinic for Physical Therapy in 1989. It was a success. He had a home in Magnolia, had a wife and a stepson, and money in the bank. Life was good. In 2015, though, he had emergency major open heart surgery. He was in a coma for 2 weeks and flat on his back for the better part of a year. And life didn't want to let him back up. His heart eventually healed, only to be broken.
My mother passed away. My wife walked out on her marriage and took her 12-year-old boy with her, my stepson. My life was just crashing around me. Hundreds of thousands of dollars I had saved up for my retirement years. I threw it all into my business to keep it going. We had 25 employees. I felt a terrible obligation to them to keep it going as long as I possibly could.
The Donaldson Clinic shut down for good in February of 2018.
I was alone. I was alone. I was scared.
And the big man shut down too. He was swallowed up into darkness.
You can't think straight. You can't think logically. It just doesn't happen. Your only concern is the immediate time you're in and how to get yourself out of that, or how to get yourself out of this world and be done with the misery and the pain and the suffering. I remember my doctor sitting as far as we are from each other telling me, hey, James, if you take your life, people are going to miss you. People love you. People care about you. And I looked right back at him, as serious as can be, and said, Doc, nobody cares about me. Nobody loves me. Nobody's going to miss me.
He considered hanging himself. He considered attacking a cop in hopes of being shot dead. His dark time lasted a year, and then something happened that shook James to the core.
You know, I think what was the catalyst for me to be doggedly determined to hang in there and get through this thing was the suicide of Tyler Helinski.
He watched as people struggled to tell Tyler's story, to understand why, and he decided that he would stay alive to tell his own story. The big man saw a specialist.
And he said, wow, James, you are going through depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideations. We need to get you help.
He got on medication, and then he called on his friends.
I said, hey guys, if I need to call somebody at 2 in the morning, can I call you? And they say yes. Every one of them put their hand up. Put me on your speed dial. Call me. I said, but I also need you guys to check in on me 2 or 3 times a week. Because the only people calling me now are, creditors and bankers and loan sharks and people who are after every last dime, which I didn't have anymore.
And so, with help, James Donaldson pulled himself back up onto his feet. He is currently dedicating his life to helping other people fight through depression and mental illness.
Now I realize, yes, people are going to miss me. That people care about.
He talks to kids, tells his story, and sometimes they tell him their stories.
And at the end, 3 or 4 or 5 of those kids would come up and pull me aside individually. They'd tug on me, pull me off to the side, and tell me that they're suicidal right now, and they don't know how they're going to make it through the night.
James rents an apartment now. His money is gone, but he has found purpose. He started a foundation, yourgiftoflife.org, to further the conversation about mental health and suicide. He's written a book, Celebrating Your Gift of Life, it's called, and in it he talks about men who notoriously struggle to express themselves when they're hurting.
Men just have to say, hey, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay for me to be hurt. People see me crying when I tell my story because it's so real. And I want people to realize I'm a big, tough, strong guy, always have been. But many, many, many nights I was crying myself to sleep on my pillow, all by myself. And that's okay.
It takes a big man to tell the story this man tells. And the truth is, through it all, even though we knew he was 7'2", we had no idea just how big a man James Donaldson really is.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, our producer back there, for all that. That really tells my story of the last 10 years or so of what I've gone through and why I'm doing the work I'm doing now. I mean, even watching that video still makes me emotional to realize I'd gone through all of that and still, hung in there. But it just reminds me of, how real that was, how close it came to me putting an end to everything. And that's what I want to share with everybody out there. I mean, mental health is a big, big issue in our country. We have 50,000 suicides every single year and hundreds of thousands of attempted suicides. It's a big problem. And the problem is with mental health, no one can tell that you're going through a difficult time unless you let them know. They can't just look at you and, we all look great on the outside and everybody got that little smile on and doing their thing, but you don't know what people are going home to at night. You don't know the troubles they're going through during the day. And we're all struggling with something. And we can all handle 1 or 2 things happening in our lives that aren't going too well. But when it piles up on you, 5, 6, 7 things, and you just see no way out but getting out, that's a big problem. And that's my encouragement to everybody out there today. Make sure you reach out for help and get the help that you need. It's right around the corner. 988 is our suicide prevention hotline number. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Somebody will pick up the phone and talk with you, no matter where you call from. And in a multitude of languages as well. They'll find somebody that speaks your language that you can actually talk to. I called them several times at 2 or 3 in the morning when I couldn't sleep, and they helped me as well. So that is a free resource for everybody. Another great resource is NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I'm on the board here in Seattle. I'm on the board on one of the eastern counties of Washington. And just that's another great resource for us. And all these things are totally free. It's difficult to get in to see a professional, mental health professional, and it will take several months to get in for your first appointment. And so don't let yourself get down to those depths where you just don't see any way out. and you just find yourself in that deep, depressed state. We need each other more than ever. You know, it's kind of interesting because now, in this day of social media and technology, we're all connected better than we've ever been before in human history. I mean, I've got thousands of friends on Facebook, so-called Facebook friends anyway. But at the same time, we're more lonely than ever in this country. People are isolated. Social media does not do it for us because we are social creatures. We need each other to be able to sit down and talk with each other and hold each other and hug each other. Human beings need those kind of interactions, and we're not getting it to the extent that we used to years ago. And so my challenge to everybody out there is that, hey, if you sense that you're going through a difficult time, make sure you reach out for help. And I talk to a lot of guys, especially because I know how us guys can be. You know, we're big, we're tough, we're strong, silent type. We don't cry. We don't let anybody see us cry. But hey, man, you saw me in my video crying in there. And, you know, sometimes it's just good to have a good cry and get it out your system. But also let the people in your life that are closest to you know that you're going through a difficult time. Let them know that you need them, that you need to talk with them. You need to lean on them. And we all hate to be judged, you know. I mean, that's the reason so many people don't come out and talk about it, because we're fearful of being judged. Oh, you're just crazy. Oh, you got some problems, or you can't handle it. You know, yeah, people are going to think all kinds of things, but you got to take care of you. And that's really what this is all about, this whole journey I'm on now, to really bring awareness to mental health and suicide prevention. We've got 2 months in the year that we really try to celebrate and bring light to mental health awareness. One is May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. The other is September, which is National Suicide Prevention Month. And so what I do is I go around to schools all over the state of Washington, talking to middle schools and high school kids, and just really reassuring them that, hey, they are not alone. You know, they can and they will get through their difficult time. They see my little video. I start off the presentation with my video I just showed you. And that really captivates them. And they say, wow, you know, James isn't just like another teacher coming in, or a counselor or a principal and just blah, blah, blah. James actually went through that. And I'm going through something similar. Afterwards, there's always 4, 5, 6 kids that come up and tell me that they're suicidal right now in school. And I make sure that the teachers and the counselors can identify that kid and saddle up next to them and give them the help and the support they need. And so that's why I'm doing the work I do. It's by far the most rewarding work I've ever done. And I think I've done a lot of good things in life, you know, and accomplished a lot of really good things. But this by far is so much more rewarding, because I'm actually saving lives. You know, I mean, there's people that call me and say, wow, James, I saw your story, and I was right there where you were, and I was about ready to throw it all away. Guys call me, especially men, and they call me from all over the country, and they want to talk to me. They won't talk to their doctor. They won't talk to their girlfriend or their wife, but they want to talk to me because they've seen me running up and down the court years ago. And they say, wow, you know, James went through that, and he can talk about it. I know he'll understand, and I do understand. And so that's why I want you all to reach out anytime and just make sure that you reach out and talk to me. You know, I wrote a book about my journeys, my trials, and my tribulations, and overcoming all of that. It's called Celebrating Your Gift of Life, which is partially named after my foundation, Your Gift of Life, because life is truly the most precious gift that any of us are ever going to have. And so, you know, I keep on speaking to groups all over the world, all over the country, a lot of different business groups in the area, Rotary groups. You know, if you need a speaker to come out and speak to you about mental health, make sure you contact me and let me know that kind of thing. And so, you know, we just have to do a better job. Everybody is really suffering. No one is immune. You know, with my story, it wasn't that I did anything wrong. I mean, I wasn't abusing drugs or wasn't abusing alcohol. I wasn't homeless. I was just living my life. And then boom, my heart gave out and I needed emergency surgery. That sidelined me for a year or two. And during that time, everything started circling downward. Losing my home to foreclosure, going through a bankruptcy. I mean, I have been through all this, people. I know. But I'm building myself back up again. All those things are coming back slowly but surely. It takes time. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to love yourself. I've learned that, hey, I've got to take care of me first and foremost. If I feel somebody's disrespecting me and not understanding, I have to speak up, because internalizing that really just makes it more difficult, makes those mental health challenges more difficult. You've got to let people know what's on your mind and let respectfully, and just talk about what you're going through. They'll understand. They definitely will understand. And so I just want to make sure that I got my word out there today to you, and that you'll keep on going. The name of the show is Standing Above the Crowd, because years ago, when I was on top of things, this was a success book, motivational, inspirational type book, Standing Above the Crowd, putting together your game plan for life, okay, and making sure that you have a winning attitude. So you can be on top of things, or you can be struggling and be on the bottom of things and have to work your way back up. Either way, this is life. This is life, and we're all going to go through all kind of different things. I feel for our young people now, because young people are so almost addicted to the social media. They say young teenagers now are going through up to 12 hours a day on social media. And that's just incredible. They're not having the ability to talk and to play and to run and jump like we did when we were kids. They're not having the ability to make good, deep friendships. It's going to be a shame that all those childhood years go by and they look back and they don't have any real serious friends other than their iPhone that they spent so much time on. And let me tell you, that iPhone can't help you at 2 a.m. when you really need to actually talk to somebody. Okay. That iPhone's fun and games and things and, a little entertainment, but it can't be your whole world. And so many of our young people are making it their whole world. When they get older, how are they going to form meaningful relationships with their prospective spouses and boyfriends and girlfriends and husbands and wives? How are they going to form all that if they have difficulty looking up from their phone and having a decent conversation, eye to eye, heart to heart with somebody else? So those are going to be the challenges for our young people coming up. And if you're listening to this and you've got young people in the house, try to limit some of that social media time. I mean, just have them sit it down for an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and just go outside and play. Sit it down for 2 hours a day and go and do some crafts or sports or something else to do just to get them going. They're so sedentary now. Our kids are suffering from health issues, getting obese and too much sugar and all these other things, all because this is the lifestyle that they have grown up with since the invention of the smartphone. And so all of these things are so important. And mental health is something that can touch everybody at any point in your life. You don't have to be young, don't have to be old, don't have to be rich, don't have to be poor. It can strike you when you least expect it. We all go through difficult times. We all kind of expect, at some point our parents are going to pass on, especially when they get up in their 80s and 90s, you know that eventually they're going to pass on. But that's something you can kind of prepare for. You can kind of see happening. But to lose a child, and the way we've lost so many young people to fentanyl and opioid overdosing, 100,000 last year. Wow, that is devastating. And if you ever know any family that's lost a child, they are devastated forevermore. In my video I showed you, I was talking about Tyler Helinski and the great Washington State University quarterback, that was coming in to be a superstar player and took his life. I know his parents. I work with his parents, and they are both still devastated years later, still trying to figure out what in the world happened. How could this happen to our son? Searching for answers that they'll never get. All they can do is surmise and kind of fill in the blanks. But Tyler's not here to fill in those blanks for them, so they never really will know. And that achiness and that hurt will never leave them. And so that's the burden that they have to carry the rest of the way. They're doing a great job out there bringing awareness to mental health and suicide, but it's not the same as having your own child still with you. And so I just want to bring, again, that awareness to everybody, that we need each other more than ever before. Okay, we need to keep on talking and keep on being. Put those phones down, go out for a cup of coffee, go for a walk. It's a great time of the year. Go out and enjoy the weather. Just get away from all this craziness. But in wrapping up, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to my first inaugural show. We'll have upcoming shows featuring guests. I want to bring in a lot of community leaders, a lot of sports figures, some of my old coaches, some great players. Talk to them about how they've gotten from where they are to where they are now, especially if they're doing really well after the game, and talk to them about those kind of things. We'll talk a lot more about mental health from time to time and self-help, something that I'm really into in a big way right now, because I know we all can do better, but we all have to be willing to do better. All right. I just want to thank Rainier Avenue Radio for allowing me to have this platform today to reach out to the community and reach out around the world with the internet and YouTube and everything else. So you just continue staying with me. I check in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Standing Above the Crowd with James Donaldson. Come on back anytime, and I'll be here waiting for you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, and blessed day. See you now.